We're specific to LaunchUp. This is something we're hoping to do every month. April 22nd, Wednesday, April 22nd will be our next event. We're going to try to do it in Salt Lake somewhere. We need people to help with that. If you know of locations we could do, if you know of companies that we should feature and help, if you'd like to help in other ways, let us know. If you want to know about all things LaunchUp, you can follow us at launchup.org. We have an RSS feed. We've got an email list. You can follow us on Twitter. We're at LaunchUp. Those are ways you can find out what's going on. We have a Facebook page, and last, if you want to help or get involved, just email me, Jeremy at jeremyhanks.com. It's pretty simple, and definitely would like to have any help that we can get. So anyway, I think that's kind of all the housekeeping, announcement type stuff. We wanted to start this. When we were talking about LaunchUp, we wanted to have, the main goal for this is for people to walk away from here excited about entrepreneurship at a high level, but at a lower level, to have a couple of companies walk away with some very tangible, specific information that can help them and connections that can help them with their business. So the first thing that we're going to always start a LaunchUp with is what we call the AMP session. And we tonight have somebody that I've gotten to know really well over the last several years, Ben Peterson. Ben started a company called Mingle Match, which was sold to Spark Networks. He's been an active angel investor, and he decided that he was bored at home, and so he's working on a new startup called Human Services HQ. And one of the brightest, smartest entrepreneurs that I know. And so Ben's going to talk and kick it off for 15 minutes or so, and then we'll go into this part where we're talking about the company. So I'll let Ben introduce himself more and tell you about what he wants to talk about. So Ben Peterson.
Thanks, Jer. Just the fact that Jeremy invited me should tell all of you that he doesn't know very many people. I guess I'm the guinea pig to start up the first launch session and mention a few things. Just as far as my own personal background, started Mingle Match in, I think it was about 2000. Ran it out of my house for about 2.5 years. Had a couple contract employees. We just hoarded cash and were really frugal. After that, we started to grow quickly. We never had a down quarter. We had one down month. It was the month of February because there were fewer days. But our sites grew pretty fast. We were doing around $5 million a year in revenue, and we got a pretty good multiple out of Spark Networks when we sold. And we sold the company in May of 2005, and I left a year later and wrestled kids for a little while until my wife kicked me out. So now I'm doing the next thing. Jeremy asked me just to share a few pointers. So how many of you here have ever heard the phrase PPC? What does it stand for? Pay-per-click. How many of you have ever heard it stand for the 3 things that will only sell online? Pills, porn, and casinos. Have you heard that one? I've got another acronym for PPC, and this is what I'm going to use tonight. It stands for people, priorities, and cash. And I'll start with people. So just 3 key factors in your startup and whatever it is you're doing. In fact, whether you're a startup or not, these things are still key, is people. I'd rather have no employee than an employee that caused problems, that gave me a headache. And picking the right team is critical, making sure that you've got all the right pieces, all the right skill sets. Obviously, some are going to overlap sometimes, but everybody should know where they belong, what their responsibilities are, and what they should be doing. And had different experiences with different employees, and it's just it's so nice to be working with people that you care about. You care about what they're doing, and they're as engaged as you are, and that you don't have to micromanage. Favorite employee is someone that I say, hey, here's some data that I need, here's a report that I need, here's the format I need it in, and that person brings it back to me and says, here's exactly what you needed, but I thought you might want these things as well, and they add to it. Just people that will add value to what you're doing and make you better. And of course, you got to love the guys who have the huge egos, who don't want to hire anybody that's smarter than them. I'm kind of opposite that. It's really easy to find people smarter than I am, so I'd love to hire them. So the first one is people. The second one is priority. Any of you familiar with the term scope creep? Raise your hand. So scope creep is my nightmare. It's a problem I have because I'm always thinking of different things to add value, to add to the offering. And so we would have pages and pages and pages of features and ideas, things that we wanted to do to the architecture, things that we wanted to do advertising-wise, campaigns, just all these things that we wanted to do. It was so difficult to focus. And finally we just said, okay, we've had enough. And in our Monday morning Scrum meetings, we would say, what are our priorities? And everything else is going to go on a list, and we're not even going to think about it. Because there's so many things that you can do that can distract you from what you should be doing that it makes it really, really difficult to focus. And obviously, focus is important in a startup. So what we would do is someone would come in with a request and say, I need to build this. Maybe it was another feature in the affiliate program, but it was going to require certain resources, whether it was graphic design or some coding. And we would say, does this fall within the top 3 priorities of the company right now? And we would rotate through those priorities. So we actually had a total of about 10 on the list. So if you couldn't work on number 1, you worked on number 2. If you couldn't hit number 2, you'd hit number 3, and so on and so forth. And we would just roll through those, and it helped us immensely in just tabling all those little things that might be a cool idea, but that didn't fall within our top priorities. So people, priorities, and the last one is cash. There's a quote given by a guy named Ken Morse, who's the head of the Center for Entrepreneurship at MIT, and the students quote him all the time as saying, cash flow is more important than your mother. And it's true. There are so many things about cash that make you stronger. Whether you're going to raise money, I can tell you just as a member of the Utah Angels, it's a lot more interesting when a company walks in the door and they've got sales, they've got IOs, and when they have cash on the books and they know how to make some sales, than one that comes in and they say, we're pre-revenue, but we've got a great idea and we're going to make millions of dollars in online advertising or however else. Also, the term sheet's going to look a lot different if you have cash. And I'm sure Entice Labs, Ryan and JD at Tweet Booty can both tell you how important cash is just from their own experiences. So just to start it off, any of you have any questions? My understanding, Jeremy, is that this is just really casual. So hopefully you guys, I doubt many of you are, just from knowing a lot of you are going to be shy, but please just throw out the questions. I'm not sure how the next section happens, but do any of you have any questions before we get started for me at all? Any questions? I answered all of your questions.
I have a question.
Yes, Jer.
Why did you decide to go back and do another startup?
Why did I go back? Why did I go back to do another startup? Well, one of those reasons was my wife kind of kicked me out. She said it was time to get out of the house. No, after we sold the company and I went back, I've always been a competitive guy. I kind of want to prove that I can do it again, for one. I got kind of bored sitting at home. We dabbled in different things, got involved in different businesses, different investments, doing things with the Utah Angels and watching some of those companies. But I just found that I actually like doing it myself versus talking to people about doing it. And I enjoy it. Enjoy the challenge of closing the deal, doing the biz dev deal, and also I'm a big fan of bootstrapping. I realize there are companies that need to raise funds just to whether it's to buy product or to get something done. But I would rather grow slow, build a good foundation, and not take on the money and the risk and being liable to someone else. So just wanted to do it again. My partner, who I work with, Ryan Sanders, most talented guy I've met, as it relates to product development, just really skilled guy. Came in with an idea. We actually brainstormed it in an office in just a really white, empty cell of an office with a whiteboard. Wrote down all of our ideas and just cranked through due diligence on a couple different things initially, and just ended up with Human Services HQ. We think that there's a real opportunity in the SaaS market, especially with our pricing and just the month-to-month recurring subscription model we really liked. So if it hadn't been the right business, I wouldn't be doing anything right now, but it just seemed to be the right fit at the right time.
Ben,
Yeah.
I got one question. What do you think of
So my first job out of college was for what was then at the time superstats.com, which became mycomputer.com, which became Omniture. And I was either number 14 or 17 there, but I was the only sales guy. And so I had to learn to sell ads. So I sold, I think our team at its peak was doing between $300,000 and $350,000 a month in online ad sales. We'd sell a big account to Gateway. Gateway would never come back because they'd spend $40,000 and then disappear. And so I wasn't a big fan of banner ads. I knew that they didn't work. Doing the math, just with the conversion ratios and the click-through rates, they're just really, really low. And so with the online dating, we did cost per click. So we'd spend tens of thousands of dollars a month driving traffic just through targeted keywords. In fact, one of the reasons that I wanted to sell the company was because we started to receive a lot of pressure from some of the bigger players like Match.com, eHarmony, AmericanSingles.com, where they were starting to dive into all of our vertical niches, because I wasn't competing in the generic market. But when that became saturated and they start looking at little keywords, we had sites in Canada, we had sites in the UK, we had religious dating sites, and when they start buying my keywords and our margins start to get a little thinner, it kind of gave us a little incentive to say, hey, we might not want to play in this area anymore. So it was only cost per click. I would test a banner campaign if it was a really targeted website, and I would only test it. A lot of times you'll go to a website and they'll say, yeah, run it for a month or we'll charge you this. And I would just talk them into taking a small percentage of what they're asking for. Hey, can I test it for $200? Because they have the inventory. And it doesn't matter. It's either $200 for them or it's zero. So they typically will take some type of an offer like that. Any other questions? Yeah, Ken.
What was your motivation to jump into this space? Is it any other, or you might have some opportunities?
Probably the due diligence, and I'm kind of a low key guy. I just kind of like to put my head down and work hard. And there's nothing really sexy about HR. Most people can't stand HR, but the product offerings that are currently out there are overpriced. They're legacy systems, and we just felt that a faster SaaS offering that evolved quickly, if we could get sales and get to cash, which is what I spend all day doing, is sales, then we think that we can make it work in the long run. We're just a little baby. We've only been live since November, and half of that time has been in beta, so it was just the right offering, the right opportunity after doing all the due diligence.
So far, do you feel validated?
Oh, absolutely. Just ask Doba. Where's Megan? Doba's one of our customers, and so far they love it. I should repeat the questions. Thanks, Steve. So do we feel validated? Yeah, absolutely feel validated that it's been a good choice so far. Ask me in 6 months, might be a different story. Anyway, other questions? Building the app, we started brainstorming at the beginning of the summer, and probably from about July through November. But the issue is that it's SaaS, right? And so you're constantly evolving. You're always getting better. So we went live just with a bare bones skeleton, but we've added to that. We've had multiple releases since then. A lot of it driven by customer feedback and letting them drive what we do and how we do it. And what's most important to them is what we put on our priority list to make them happy and keep them around, so we can keep their money. Other questions? You guys, this isn't for me. We should be highlighting Entice Labs and Tweet Booty, so I'm going to... One last question, yes.
What would you tell entrepreneurs about the current
What would I tell entrepreneurs about the current macroeconomic situation? Entrepreneurs, so what? Go to work. That's what I would tell them. I mean, a lot of companies, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. Heard about a company. Actually, I was at a luncheon sponsored by Merrill Lynch. Dave Gardner in the back had a luncheon where the presenter pitched and just kind of talked about a little bit about startups, and he mentioned a company that was, I think, doing around 10 million in revenue, but with the economic downturn, he's taken advantage of the downturn in the market. Now they're doing about 50 million a year in revenue, I believe was what it was. Don't quote me on that, but it was big numbers. I can't count that high. So I think that it's just the principles are always the same. And I think that if you can survive in this market, then when the market does turn around, it'll be that much better for you. So I'm always a fan. I've talked a couple people into starting their own companies, and I'm glad that I did. I'm horrible to talk to if you want to go work for a Big Five corporation, just because for me it may be great for someone else, but there's always an opportunity. So even with this economy, it is really difficult to raise money though, and I have not seen many deals get funded recently, and for obvious reasons, there just isn't any money. Most guys are down 30 to 50% of their net worth, and there's just not a lot of free cash flow out there. So it's just hard to make wise decisions, and it's just all the more important to go prove that you can sell. Go sell it, and then you'll have the money and use that money to grow. Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. I think he deserves some, yeah. So with his first startup, I used to joke with Ben because he was kind of under the radar. Like, he totally flew under the radar. And I think he's finding that now he's got a business-to-business sales company. He can't be quite as much under the radar. So Ben is on Twitter. So if everybody, everybody here, everybody online, follow Ben. He's at HWHL. Is that right? Happy Wife, Happy Life. So you can follow Ben on Twitter, and again, I love what he said about the challenge, and wanted to prove to himself if he could do it for a second time. So glad that he could kick off our first LaunchUp. Now we're going to get into the business of building barns, and we have 2 barns we're going to talk about tonight: Tweet Booty and Entice Labs. Basically, a couple of things. This has got to be very quick and kind of almost dirty, or it won't work. So we're going to let them present for 5 or 6 minutes. And then we're going to have a moderator that basically his job is to open the kimono, so to speak, of their businesses and try to find out where they are, what's going on, and most importantly, where are they running into problems? Where in their, to use the analogy, hopefully it doesn't get too tired, where in the barn that they're building don't they know how to build the barn, or where do they need help, those kind of things. So that moderation will go for about 10 minutes. We're going to be watching the online chat. So again, if you have questions, ideas, suggestions, offers for help, that's where you go put it. If you're here and you didn't bring a laptop, both of these companies have set up email addresses. So LaunchUp@tweetbooty.com, LaunchUp@enticelabs.com. You can email them after the event. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to record the chat so that those 2 companies can go back in and look at everything that happens. I kind of like to think of it like Cliff's Notes. We have 15 minutes to do the Cliff's Notes version of the company and the community's ability to help. And later they can go read the novel, and hopefully there's a lot of information there and offers to help. So the last thing with that is, I think typically as an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to go find help. Everybody says, entrepreneurs are supposed to go network, you've got to go find advisors, you've got to do all that stuff. We're trying to tip that on its head by saying, we're going to look for companies, and as this evolves over the next many months, we'll find ways to try to identify the companies that are the best and the brightest and trying to solve the world, the biggest problems. And we're going to flip it around and say the community is going to put them up, and the community's job is the one to offer the help. And the entrepreneur doesn't have to ask for the help. The community is the one that's going to have to say, I can help you, or you need help with finance, or you need help with sales, and I actually am a VP of sales and I'm willing to help you. So that's something that we're hoping with the chat, with the email addresses. So with that, we're going to have Tweet Booty go first. Chris Knutson is going to moderate that. Chris has been involved in startups for many, many years, and is currently heading up the sales and marketing efforts for our mid-market DOBA product that we call DOBA SMB. And so I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and we'll run through Tweet Booty, and hopefully all the tech works and everything. So.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate that. Again, I'm Chris Knutson. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for DOBA, for our SMB product here at DOBA. And I'm excited to be moderating the panel right now for Tweet Booty. I've known JD for many years. As a matter of fact, I met him when I was in MBA school. I did an internship when he was at V-Spring, and I used to show up there, and he used to kick me and do things like that to me and make me get him food and stuff like that. So mostly what he do is give me a lot of business plans and just say, go home and read these on the weekend and tell me if there's anything that's good in here. So he's a great guy. I'm really excited to moderate this panel tonight. So JD, would you like to introduce your team here real quick before you get started? Go ahead.
Okay, so we've got...
Go ahead and stand up, guys.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're excited to be here tonight. The Tweet Booty team, Mike Stevinger is our Director of Marketing. He's actually going to be the one giving the presentation. And I'm actually working with a company called Monarch Partners, which is an investment fund. And we make early stage investments in companies like Tweet Booty. We've made 18 investments so far, and some of them have been kind of later stage investments in established companies. But we also like to take a hands-on approach when we get involved with the company, and so I'm actively playing an operating role as well. Then we have Brandon Winnie, who's our social media guru, and he's doing a lot of interesting things in the social media world. Nate Jensen, stand up, take a bow. He's our technology guru. A lot of the social networking APIs and integrations are masterminded by Nate, and my wife Sarah's here as well. She's pretty actively involved in everything I'm involved with. So For a while, when people would ask us if we have any kids, it's taken us a little longer. We'd say no, but we do have a couple of LLCs and an S corp. So that's Tweet Booty. Mike, I'll take it away, my man.
Well, first,
Get the mic.
okay,
Nobody will be able to hear you except us here.
nice. Okay, so first we're honored to actually be here and be one of the first company to present at LaunchUp, and we want to thank Jeremy Hanks for letting us come out and Chris for moderating. It's like I said, it's an honor, we're also extremely grateful for you guys to be out here and give us that help that we're after. So basically what we are, Tweet Booty, what we want to do is we actually want to start off this deal by showing you a little bit of the power of Tweet Booty real time. It's actually on the slide, but what we do is we market to, we have a company called Skull Candy that we market for. How many people in here know Skull Candy or familiar with them? Nice. So what we're going to do is tonight we're going to show you how this works. If you guys, everyone has their cell phone, bust out your cell phones and text LaunchUp to a short code 64842. Again, 64842. And someone tonight's going to win these Skull Candy Skull Crushers, which is part of what we do. It's the power of Tweet Booty we're going to show you right tonight. So,
Hey, say the short code one more time.
again, the short code is it's LaunchUp, and the short code is 64842. And we'll have a winner by the time we're done with our questioning tonight. If you go to the next slide, everyone's probably out, well, what the heck is Tweet Booty, right? We're not. We have nothing to do with any pole dancing. There's no booty shorts involved. It's a online. We're going to be. What we do is we actually are a social media centered marketing company. So it's really simple. At the end of the day, how many people in here in the last 3 weeks have received a coupon in the mail or in a little envelope? By raise of hands. Come on, bring them up. So basically everybody. Now, how many people in here have actually taken the time to cut those bad boys out, put them in your wallet, and who has one of those coupons with them on their person tonight? One guy. Woo! Two, there's one in the back. Sweet. Okay, so now there's the other question. How many people in here are on Twitter? Oof. How many are on Facebook? And everyone has their cell phones, right? What we do is we offer advertisers the ability to market to people where they are. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, and they all have their cell phones. If anyone has been on a college campus in the past, few months, where are their cell phones? They're not in their pocket. They're literally in their hand. They're walking down the halls, texting, bumping into stuff because they're focused on the screen. So that's what we do. We are getting rid of these paper coupons and letting you conveniently keep your deals right here in your phone. You're able to show to the companies that you love to frequent. And what we do for advertisers is just as simple. How many people in your own businesses who have done a marketing campaign? Right. So here's the deal. We all know that it's actually a pain in the booty to actually get that done, right? It takes time. It's rather costly. And there's some lead time issues, right? You got to print everything out. You also have the lead time of the distribution. What we are able to offer those advertisers is a timely, real-time ability to go in and say, you know what? Our lunch rush was weak today. If you're a restaurant, we need our dinner rush to crank. They get online, they get on Tweet Booty, boom. They're able to target niches their demographic. They're not shooting with the big shotgun. They've got a laser beam, and they can go out and target who they want to drive into their store within a number of hours. So that's one side. The other thing is, hey, you know what? Well, we'll keep moving on. It's quick. We feel like we put together the A-team, and I guess I consider myself like BA. I'm big, kind of heavy. All right, so that's the only thing we have in common. However, we actually have experts in strategy, online marketing, social media, marketing promotions, and ad sales. So we feel like with this team, we're going to blow this up. What we're able to do is we think global. I know, global. You guys are like, what the crap is global? We think globally, and the reason why this is important is because one of the things that we do is we want to be able to capture followers or users of TweetBooty on a global or national level. But then those people are able to go down and look at the affinity groups that we have and say, you know what, that school, I attend that school. So I want offers from companies that are in that area. I'm looking for gear, like Skull Candy gear, for free. And I want that relevant information that's targeted to me. So they get on, we do giveaways. The thing that's really interesting about this is this. We've only been doing this for what, 3 weeks? About 3 weeks now? We've done 3 promotions. Today we just started our 4th, which is we're giving away a love sack on TweetBooty, which is pretty sick. And we've already, now this number is actually pretty low from the time we actually made these slides. We're looking at over 1,200 users of TweetBooty. And it's, look, we're new, but we're growing really fast. It's amazing. The other thing that's beautiful about this is that for the advertiser, you're looking at a self-service platform. You don't have to go and call anybody and say, hey, can you help me put this val pack together or this ad campaign? No, you get on, you crank it out yourself. And we'll go through a demo here in a little bit. Okay. Done. Okay, do you want to jump to the demo now?
What's the password for Safari? The login? Blank.
So while he's doing that, if we were just to focus on the top 200 universities, because we can do a lot of different things with these groups, we're looking at 5.6 million people that we can hit. What that means, if we had a theoretical 25% adoption rate, which everyone in here knows, Facebook, for example, has an 82% adoption rate with college students. So if we're able to get 25% and at 5 cents per advertisement, we're looking at being about a $100 million company. Really quickly, I want to go through this this demo, which is gonna rock. If we can get it up.
Go back to the
Lobby?
you won't be in the lobby. This is stop sharing slides.
Ooh, we've got to get this demo up. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to show really quickly how it works. You get on TweetBooty, you join a group, you're able to go through, hit a group, and then geographically say, you know what? How do I want to join this? Do I want to do it through my school, through my hobbies and interests, or where I live and work? Then what you're able to do is go through. You can follow us in any number of ways. One. So click on a join a group for me. What you're able to do is you join any one of those groups. Okay, so which group do we want to go into? How many BYU fans do we have? Just call out a name and we'll go do that group.
So wait, first of all, you can sort by where you go to school, where you live, or your interests or hobbies. So
Right.
we'll do where you go to school.
Let's go school.
Okay, I guess we want to do Utah?
Yeah.
Sounds like. Okay, go ahead.
So pick a school. Top 5 schools. BYU. Click into BYU. There's 3 ways to be able to follow us as a consumer. It's going to be text messaging. You can go in. You can text that short code we sent you earlier. You can go through. You can go to Facebook, and you're able to follow us in a Facebook group, or you can hit up Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you log in, you hit follow, and all of a sudden, bam, you're following us. And now you're getting deals. You're getting a steady flow of deals coming to your phone you're able to use. The other side of this thing, which I'd love to be able to show you, is the advertiser side.
Okay.
It's just as easy as the consumer side. You get on, you log in, and what do? You go ahead and you just type in exactly what you want to say in your tweet, which is a tweet and an SMS. And then what happens is automatically we create a landing page, which is like a mini website. We're able to have on there, and you can go through all the different, you can go through all the universities, put in all the information you need, check the schools that you actually want to use. So you can be as focused as you want. Then you go to that little landing page. You go to the next tab.
Yep. So you click this. Here's where you select the schools, and then you order the campaign.
Exactly. Go to the landing page, and what we're able to do is create this little mini website for those companies.
10 seconds, guys.
This is the beautiful part about this right here. Not only do you get to, have all the information about your company, but right here, the advertiser pays for a finite group of people that this gets sent to, but those people can go and hit click and share it, and now that gets shared to all of their friends within their social media groups. So,
Great.
at the end of the day, why do we need your help? We need you to follow tweetbooty.com. We need you to blog about us, tell your friends, but we really would love your feedback. That's why we have that website, or excuse me, the email address, LaunchUp@tweetbooty.com. We would love to hear your ideas on partnerships. We're partnering with companies like ISP, which is the nation's largest collegiate marketing company. So that's what we're after for you guys.
Okay, Mike, go ahead and have a seat right here. Hold on to that. Hold on. Good job. Go ahead. Yeah, good job, guys. Let's give them a round of applause real quick. Go ahead and have
That was fast.
Let's talk about a couple of things. We have some good questions that are coming in here, and a lot of the questions that are coming in are a lot of the same questions that I've had. And Mike and JD, why don't you talk to us a little bit about, the whole idea, and I've seen a couple of, I think I might have actually hit the mute button again, Jerry. The whole idea of basing this business off of Twitter. I'll just give you guys a quick story from my life. I worked for a company that was in the podcasting space, and it actually got pretty large in the podcasting space, and that was in 2007. And the podcasting space is pretty much blowing up right now. I mean, it's almost non-existent. And so, and that network got fairly large, millions and millions of users on that platform, a lot of shows, a lot of content that existed there. We know that Twitter right now is really still in its infancy, and it hasn't reached that critical mass or that adoption that Facebook has, obviously. There's still not very many people on the platform. So do you guys have any concerns about placing all of your bets on the Twitter platform right now? I mean, talk to us a little bit about that, and what some of your concerns are about Twitter, and if this is really going to fly on Twitter, and I'm sure you guys have thought through all those things. Why don't you guys go ahead and address that first?
The thing we like the most about Twitter is A, it's explosive growth, but B, it's the real-time communication on your mobile device, which we feel like that's the most potent thing for advertisers to tap right now in a local context, is real-time redemptions. We don't feel like we're overly exposed to it because, like Mike said, you can actually join through just putting in your mobile number and getting text directly through our SMS messaging platform, and you can also use Facebook and potentially other social networks above and beyond Twitter.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the revenue model. We didn't get really deep into the revenue model here, but talk to us about the whole thing. You did a little bit of math, and we can be hard on JD because he comes from a venture background. And I looked at that spreadsheet, me and Jeremy were like, oh, JD, that's interesting math you have there. So talk to us a little bit more about the projections and the 5 cents and where you came up with that, and give us a little more background on that.
So when I'm presenting to VCs, I use top-down approach. When I'm evaluating, I like to kind of go bottoms up.
Good.
But thanks for that catch. It's always fun being on the other side of the coin here. Really, that was just more back of the envelope to say, hey, if we could get 25% adoption rates at these top 200 universities, you'd have enough of a critical mass to where, 5 cents a pop. If you compare that to other forms of direct marketing, like even online marketing, but especially like Valpak and, any type of direct mail, you're looking at kind of in that range. And redemptions, at least currently, are about 3 to 5 times as much when you're using mobile marketing. And so we feel like it's already priced equivalently, or, on par with offline type of marketing, but we think it'll be a lot more effective. So it'll actually give a better ROI. In terms of just colleges versus other verticals that we can go after, there's actually a few different kind of sources of revenue that we could talk about, but we believe that the sweet spot will be these mobile tweets that get messaged out.
Okay, Great.
The other thing I
Go
would
ahead.
say is we offer the targeting that you can't really find with traditional offline marketing. And so that, combined with being opt-in versus just getting coupons sent to your house, we feel like will drive redemptions and then further increase the ROI.
Okay. I'm trying to go in between questions here. They're being moderated. And I know that you guys.
We actually have some T-shirts too. Does anybody want a Tweet
Throw 'em
Booty
out.
T-shirt while we're waiting for the next question?
Bust out the Tweet Booty shirts, Doc.
Go ahead and throw a couple T-shirts out,
Our boy
guys.
Brandon. Anybody?
Don't forget the guys behind the windows, though.
Yeah, let's give some love to the guys behind the windows.
Right there, dude. You got.
There you go, right over here. Throw it to me and I'll give him one.
Knock him out.
Here you go, guys.
What do people think about the Tweet Booty kind of brand and just that positioning in terms
Hey.
of social media?
Hey, JD.
I've been watching the chat. I think there's been a lot of comments and questions.
About
Okay.
about tying it to Twitter could be a mistake. Somebody suggested that socialbooty.com was available. But
Probably not
that's
anymore.
been, I think,
Right now, someone's getting out.
the most of the online stuff has been about the branding, but then also there's been some comments and I mean, again, it's actually moving so fast it's almost hard to keep up with it. So there will be a lot of comments about the people are finding it difficult to register and to think through it, and it's so I think kind of the experience and the design in that is something that people are talking about online. So
One thing is we've actually been on campus at BYU and UVU, and it really seems like for that demographic, especially, the brand Tweet Booty resonates for one reason or another. And so we actually think that as a company we can build different branded services depending on targeted demographics that we might be going after. And we really look at this as what we're building as an advertising platform that can go after a lot of different verticals.
Okay, last question, guys. There's a ton of third-party Twitter applications that are out there right now. They're being built and they're launching out every day. There's guys here that are building Twitter applications that are really interesting. I know Scott Lemon is here. He's building some really interesting Twitter applications. How you guys plan to break through that noise? I mean, are you just trying to go for the straight viral approach here, or why don't you guys address that? Because there's a lot of noise to break through on the Twitter stuff right now.
One of the things that we do, JD, we do these competitions, basically, what we do. So what we're doing is you follow us to win, for example, a love sack. It's a good example of what we're doing this time. So where we're breaking through that and getting people to follow us is because we're actually giving away gear. You don't actually see companies doing that necessarily online through those apps. So one of the things that we're able to do is have sponsors and companies work with us, advertise with us, and they're giving away they're giving away products online as well.
What I would say is through the way we do the giveaways, we make those intrinsically social, and you have to retweet to be entered in the competition, and then you have to actually promote the brand that's sponsoring the competition, and then there's a way that you can vote and retweet on the promotion. And so that gets the word out virally to kind of get people exposed to Tweet Booty. Mike didn't get to this with the slides, but we actually have kind of like what is the big idea with Tweet Booty, and we're doing 2 national campaigns, contests targeted at all universities and then all residents of the 50 different states, and we think those 2 will kind of blow this thing up on the user side. And we have an application that we're building that's a social directory that we think we can blow this thing up on the advertising side. And so what we want to do is kind of match supply and demand as we grow, and if we can nail it on those 2 sides of the equation, I think we'll definitely be I don't know if we'll break through the noise because there's so much of it, but we'll be kind of part of that noise.
Okay,
and
great,
ride that
JD,
wave.
JD and Mike. Guys, you can continue the discussion. You can send your ideas to JD and Mike at LaunchUp@tweetbooty.com. Is that right, guys? So again, JD and Mike, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, one of the comments, I threw out there is social booty, but then somebody else in the chat said that sounded like a porn site. But if you go back to what Ben said, and if you can only make money from pills, porn, and what was the other one? Casinos, that's maybe not a bad idea. So that's why you come to the LaunchUp, because something like that comes out of you from left field, and you just change your whole business model from one day to the next. So, okay, so we're going to move along. I want to introduce Brock Blake. Brock is the CEO of Funding Universe. He's got a new initiative called Grow America that's got some really cool, exciting things about helping entrepreneurs across all the U.S. And so he's going to kind of introduce and we'll dive into Entice Labs.
Thanks, Jeremy. I love the concept of LaunchUp, and so when Jeremy contacted me about a month and a half ago to get involved, I was pretty stoked to be a part of it. I'm excited. I won't take much time from Ryan Caldwell and Steve Little with Entice Labs. Great company, good startup. It's backed by some prominent angels here in the Valley. They've got a fantastic team. It's kind of got all the things that a successful startup should have to be successful, including Ryan Caldwell leading the realm at the CEO, Steve Little, who is also a professor at BYU as the CTO. They won several major awards for innovation in the HR industry, and have created a technology that really helps organizations to recruit people cost effectively. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn the time over to Ryan.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Well, we're presenting mostly a video because we want to get people really familiar with the product, and we try to set it. We're trying to confine it to it's a tight timeline of 6 minutes. So we'll kind of jump into that. We're not quite sure how well it's going to stream, so we'll probably have one of our employees post a link in the conversation to the video, so you can either download it on your own if you're remote, or later if you're here. But we'll kind of see how it plays. Let's see. Yeah. So let's see. Let's bring that video up. Yeah, that's right.
You've got a lot of jobs to fill, and not a lot of time or money to do it. You use tools like these to try to get close to your ideal candidates. But what do you do when they fall short? Well, there are 162 million websites your candidates use every day, but you could burn through a lot of time and money trying to figure out what works. Wouldn't it be great if there was a tool that put your positions right in front of the perfect people to fill them? Now there is. These are all the sites on the internet, and these are the sites where it found your ideal candidates. This is how it tracks which sites have the best candidate response. And this is how it shifts spending on the fly, from sites that aren't working to sites that are. This is where you can watch it all happening in real time. And this is what it's all about. Sourcing will never be the same. Talent Seeker.
That's a good thing.
Candidate response.
That's a good thing. So in our next video, we're going to make a version that doesn't have pauses in it, but we thought that for this first version, it was more appropriate. I'm not quite sure if people remotely are saying the same thing that we are, but there's quite a few pauses there. Is it okay if I show the next one? We're going to see some pauses, but I think it's valuable. Or you think that'll just drag too long?
No,
Okay, we'll give that a try.
yeah, we try it.
Let's take a closer look at how Talent Seeker works. You can always improve the quality of your hires, and there's nothing more important to your company than getting the best people in the right jobs. But hiring quality people is hard if they don't know who you are, and that kind of branding and exposure costs huge amounts of time and money. That's where Talent Seeker comes in. It packs all the punch of a full-service web advertising agency at a fraction of the cost. Not only that, but even if you hired an army of marketing people, targeting specialists, account
Online, yeah, there's
So for everybody, we'll make sure we post everything about their videos because they're some of the best videos I've ever seen as far as explaining what a company does. So we just had some problems with trying to get it streamed out. So we'll get it posted on the after event stuff, and it should be in the chat, and it's up on Twitter now too. So if you see those links, go and watch them. So.
Okay, and so essentially where we are right now as a company is those videos will be really helpful to kind of get an idea. It's a little bit of a complex idea when it gets down to how it actually works, and the videos will be really helpful. And first of all, I want to thank Doba technical side because I understand you probably tested this. We didn't expect probably the response that we have watching it, so it just means that there's a lot of people watching it, so it's no big deal. But we do have the link. It will be tweeted as well as it should be here in the comment section. So you can watch those videos in HD over the web. And where our primary need is right now is sales. And what we're looking for is we have great interest and success in our product thus far. We even have a few Fortune 100 companies using it, some pretty big names. But the question or the issues that we have is we want to make sure that we have the best way about going about doing it. Are we using the correct channels? Could we use channels better? Is our strategy around sales the most efficient way and effective way to do it? What kind of structure should we have for our sales process as well as partners? And what's the best way to facilitate growth? And as we're entering this stage, we have a huge need for partners who really get what it is that we're trying to do. And we have a lot of people who want to adopt it, but we just don't have the bandwidth to enable hundreds and hundreds of companies to come online immediately. We can't onboard them that quickly. So we want to find the best companies that are really able to use the technology or the best fit and able to really understand how to use it and implement it properly. So what we're kind of reaching out for are the people who are maybe the sales minds in the crowd who have great sales experience building great sales organizations. We have quite a few here in Utah. I mean, obviously there's some great success stories of companies that have done amazing things with sales and climbed to the #1 spot in their industry. Also people who understand how to create great buzz, how to get a product hyped out there in the space to where it'll automatically lend to the people who are the most interested coming to us and saying, we're ready. We've seen it. We don't need to come and sell it to us. We know that we want to do this. How do we deploy this? And so when you watch the video, you'll get a better feel for how the product works, and it may pop out in your mind, I know how to help this company. I know how to make sure their sales will go even better. Our sales are going really well right now, but in this economy, we want to make sure that every single bit of bandwidth we have is going in the best direction, the most efficient way possible, and that's what we're reaching out to the community right now for.
Ryan, can you give us, there's a little bit of disconnect with, if you haven't seen the video, can you just give us a 1-minute elevator pitch on what you do and how it works and without the video?
Right. Well, essentially, in HR, one of the reasons why HR is a great space is that as time has evolved, companies and people have realized that the fact they have not spent time and money in HR, which they actually do spend a lot of money and time in HR, and all companies struggle with HR issues, recruitment issues, sourcing issues, as well as retention issues. But they need to spend honestly more time and more money there. But the question is, when they're trying to source good quality candidates, when they're trying to find the right people, the current methods that are in place don't lend to them finding the right candidates. So if you're looking at a job board, or if you're going through recruiters or so forth, they're usually targeting active candidates, and that only makes up about 20% of the total candidate pool, as well as the fact they can only target so well. And so our system enables a company's HR department to say, let's use all the new mediums that everyone keeps telling us we need to use: social networks, niche sites, blogs, user groups, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it may be, including mobile texting, the entire gamut. And they'll say, let's send out our ads or our jobs over those systems, and then the system actually automatically prioritizes which one of those mediums is working, and it will adjust on the fly. So it actually measures the clicks coming in, it measures the applications, as well as the success on the hires, and reallocates spend in the methods that are working best.
Can you talk to us about your revenue model?
Well, it's a software as a service. So what ends up occurring is a customer will come to us and say that they need to source certain types of jobs. They may need a lot of nurses for healthcare companies, or maybe a lot of sales consultants for SAP or whatever it may be. And we will target certain areas, geographic areas, or certain job types or titles, and we'll use a whole gamut of information, whether that's their profile on LinkedIn or Facebook, their site history of where they browse and everything, and we'll come together and match it for them, and they will subscribe to it on a monthly basis, and they have the ability to crank that model up or down depending on their need. So they can actually have a minimum subscription. That's a very small amount, but if they need to crank it up for a few months as they try to increase certain areas hiring, needs to increase for like a new location or something like that, they can crank it up or down as they need.
I'm going to just give a couple recommendations to have this be most valuable for their company. Please suggest any recommendations online, or send emails to it so they can get the most out of it. But I'm going to dial down on sales, because that's one of the areas that you said you want to focus on. Tell us a little bit right now about your sales process, sales timeline, different things like that. How are you going about doing it today?
Well, right now, we're very lucky in the fact that the need for this service is very apparent. Most of the companies that we talk to, as soon as they're aware that this problem has been solved, because what we found is over the last few years, all the conferences that they go to, all the industry experts, all the books, talk about how job boards are not the best method. They have their place, and they're always going to be there, because you will always have active candidates that want to go search through all of the jobs. So they're definitely always going to be a staple. But this whole other section of being able to use these new methods, it's been preached now for 2 years about that they need to use these new methods. And as soon as they find out that there's actually a tool that can get them across all these methods, we get people lighting up, we get people contacting us immediately, and we even have companies that currently aren't hiring at all because of the economic downturn, but that are in very continuous conversation with us saying, we know we're going to ramp up. When we ramp up, we know we want to use this medium. And so even companies that don't necessarily feel the pain of it know that they want to use the process. So we send out emails and contacts through either companies that we would want to target in the Fortune 2000 or mid-market, as well as attending conferences. And from there, we have enough leads coming back in of companies who are interested. But to take a company through the whole process and explain it, the technology takes time. So we have a bottleneck there.
So is the biggest challenge right now for you awareness, getting the word out, or is it closing deals? Is it sales life cycle?
I think there's a couple issues. One is awareness from the standpoint that if the right companies were aware that the technology was there, they would be the perfect ones for us to work with, because they already understand the need. They're a little bit further along. They have people internally who really get the concept, and they could ramp up much faster than companies that they're excited about it, they know there's a need, but internally they have to kind of promote it and get it through people who are used to the old methods of doing things, so it has a slowdown process. So if we had a greater awareness, we would hope that the fruit that's ripe to pick would be more apparent and would kind of come to us. And so I think that's one of where our big needs is awareness on that side. So.
What is the time frame from awareness, getting the lead, to close in this industry and with your product?
You know, it really varies. We've had some companies ramp up very quickly. We've had some that honestly will take 9 to 12 months. And it just depends on the organization. We've found that some of the companies we're working with right now, they're thinking about deploying globally as well as domestically. And so they may have their global timelines may be different than their domestic timelines. So.
Cool. So we got a question on. 3 people have asked this question. The technology sounds and looks cool, but how well does it really work in recruiting candidates who aren't looking, especially in this economy?
Okay, that's actually a perfect question. What we've actually seen, actual real cases, we've had one company was looking for a senior search architect, and they had been on every job board and had no results of a qualified candidate. They had now turned to several recruiting firms, and the recruiting firms were offered $37,000 to fill this position. And after about a month or a month and a half, the position remained unfilled. They turned our system live, and with less than $500 spend, were able to not only fill the position, but found the exact candidate they were looking for. And what was crazy is the candidate was 8 miles from his office, and just wasn't aware that company was hiring for that position, but also wasn't aware that company was even doing that kind of work. So our system was able to reach out to that candidate where they would research their job or go on blogs or user groups, identify them, find them an opportunity they had no idea it was a perfect fit, and the expenses were incredibly low for the employer.
Are there any questions from the audience that you'd like me to ask that are here? Yeah, JD.
Well, one quick question is, in this economic environment, there's a lot of people that are, getting laid off, and
Yeah, I was going to.
and companies aren't necessarily hiring like they used to. I guess my question would be, this seems like it'd be really interesting technology for finding, freelancers, designers, even, for lead gen and for like affiliates of a specified niche. Is there any? Could your technology kind of go in that direction for this, based on this market environment?
Yeah, these questions get asked to us a lot. What's really fascinating is we are in an economic downturn, but what's amazing is that everybody's hiring. I mean, we've had even companies, it doesn't matter if it's a Ford, who realizes they've got to hire sync engineers and people to work on their hybrids and electrics, and so they're shifting a huge amount of their focus. They may be companies that are laying off huge percentages of people in other areas. Economic downturns cause companies to have to refocus, and the jobs that are in demand are always in demand, and they're hard to fill no matter what. And so what we found is it doesn't matter what company we've contacted, they always have a good chunk of jobs that are the jobs that are the hardest for them to fill. They're willing to pay the most money for those jobs, and the other current methods are not working. Because if you have someone in an industry where that industry realizes, wow, we need to shift to whatever it may be. I mean, there's a huge shift recently to solar power and to things like that. In every industry, there's a shift. And economic downturns cause those shifts, and it causes certain jobs to become in high demand, which means you have no chance of finding that person on a job board. You have no chance of finding them through the normal methods because they're in such high demand that you have to be able to proactively reach out to them and in a non-aggressive way put an opportunity in front of them and see if you have a fit. And so, yes, the technology can be applied to other mediums. Right now, we found that this medium just works so well, and we want to make sure that we have it nailed here before we move on to other areas.
John. Let me repeat the question so they can hear.
He asked if we've thought about going to other headhunting firms and striking deals in cities, you said, in other cities?
Larger cities than the Salt Lake area?
Oh, well, we're global. So we're actually targeting, for Fortune 100 companies right now, we're targeting right now in India, in Germany, and Australia. So we're not targeting even just in the U.S. We definitely, of course, have a lot of targeting in the Bay Area and, Chicago, Boston, those types of centers. But the working with other headhunting agencies, that's definitely the case. In fact, there are several main ad agencies that are the primary companies that the Fortune 2000 and even mid-market turn to for this type of stuff. And we're in discussions with all 4 of them about them using our product and actually having it combined with their current offering to offer to their existing customers.
versus $37,000, that's quite a swing.
Okay, so he asked the question, how do we decide on our pricing model? Because our pricing model is pretty efficient, so it's a pretty big swing from where we are compared to what's currently offered out there. There are hires that are quite a bit more expensive than that can go into the several thousand. They're still very efficient compared to the current methods, especially if it's a job that's in high demand. But our pricing model is not based off of what they're currently paying and trying to get them to pay just slightly bit less or something along those lines. It's based off of our efficiency. Our system is getting more efficient with time, and so our prices are actually going to be falling, and they continue to fall. But our purpose right now is growth. And so a lot of our customers that have come on right now, we have offered them special deals as they come in early to enable them to basically be just above our cost so that they can really deploy it on a large scale and feel confident and comfortable with that. And so right now the pricing model is based off of where our costs really are. And even if our margins were incredibly high, several $100%, we still would only increase that $500 to $700-800. It's just the fact that this is such a more efficient way of doing it. We're not trying to price gouge here. We don't need bigger margins than we have right now.
Now, taking out the economic situation that we're all in, what do you think is hindering you the most from explosive growth with your company?
I think one of the biggest things is that it is a new space. This space, they've talked about this space existing. I mean, books and industry experts have talked a lot about how they need to go into this space, but to actually have a platform that can deploy across all of our own methods, but the existing methods as well, is really new. And so there's a little bit of an education play there. And I think that although people are very excited about what we're doing within each company, we'll find that we'll have 4 or 5 people within a company that are really excited, but then as they move through the bureaucracy that a large company needs to get approval, there'll be several people that will be very timid because it is so new. And so I think with us, it's just a case of making sure they have good references to talk to, as well as case studies to show how the service really works. So.
Okay, round of applause for Entice Labs and Ryan Caldwell. I'll turn the time back over to Jeremy.
All right. I got to figure out a better system for moving computers and such here. So, that's the barn raising part. Hopefully, the chat started moving really fast. I think when we get that to you guys, I think there's a lot of questions and ideas, and some things that you've probably heard, maybe others that you haven't, and hopefully there's something there, to help you out. And hopefully, again, if you feel like you're motivated and want to try to help, send these guys an email, and we can take a lot of these conversations offline. When we meet next month, we'll definitely do a follow-up and see, if your businesses were able to be helped at all by the community. At a minimum, we get you some exposure, So what we wanted to do is spend a few minutes. This is an idea that we borrowed from the Web Startup Group guys at BYU. But when they do some of their events, they have like an open mic. Anybody that can grab the mic and throw out an idea or a question or business idea, and try that for a few minutes. The community, if there's some that are online, if you've got an idea, throw it out and we'll watch. But if anybody want the mic, we're going to time you. I'm not going to give you this thing for like 5 minutes. So you've got like 15 to 30 seconds to say anything, to ask a question to the group, to say you're excited, to comment on the weather, whatever you want to do. And if nobody wants to do that, then we'll move on to the next stuff. Does anybody have anything they want to?
Who won the Tweet Booty text giveaway?
Oh yeah, did you get? How do we know that? Who?
Just tell them they're supposed to shout something out.
You should have received a text.
Did somebody get a text for the Tweet Booty?
Maybe someone offline got, or
Yeah, they could have gotten on there too.
Nobody won? Did anybody online win? If you can hear me online.
Special phrase that they got to shout out to.
Where's my phone? I know I'm the winner. I can't find my phone though right at the moment here. So.
If they, just have them text do an out replay.
Oh, it's in my pocket.
Booty, and
Yeah.
we'll get you the headphones.
Yeah. Get in touch with. If you can't get in touch with Tweet Booty and you've got the code, email me and I'll get you the headphones. So, or I'll just tell JD that I want it. So.
Okay.
Once I know what the code is. So, anybody have any questions, thoughts, ideas? Do you want to throw out to the group? So we have this mic, so we'll try to pass this around so that you're on mic. Video will be tricky, so.
Just a quick question idea, more of kind of market research for myself. I'm Drew Tyler. I'm opening up a co-work space in Salt Lake City probably in the next month and a half, 2 months. And I kind of see that as a much like this barn raising on a daily basis for small companies that want to position themselves in a place that's collaborative and helping out and then kind of bouncing off each other's strong points for different companies. So I want to get that out there if anybody's interested in helping me to create this creative space. If you're not aware what co-working is, it's basically like working at Starbucks, but every day. So you have the atmosphere that's creative and fun, but it's open for everybody. It's an easy way to get a nice professional face to your business rather than working in your basement. So if you have questions about that, come talk to me. I'd love to explain a little bit more, but I don't want to take too much time. The end. I am not co-work Utah. I am opening space in Salt Lake. Where? Location is yet to be determined. That's why I
So,
hope to get
location yet to be determined, somewhere in Salt Lake City.
community to help decide.
South Salt Lake.
Was that Justin? Yeah.
So connect with Jesse. Jesse, stay.
Hi, I'm Nathan Gardner with Costa Vida. We've been, I'm over here in the window, by the way. This is a space that we've actually been utilizing quite a bit at Costa Vida, and some of the resources that we've found that are really great. If you're not following, if you're not using Mashable, which is a really great blog, tons of great information that you can see about how the social media network's being used. Also, there's this cool little application out there called Contexts, CONTXTS, that you can go and actually put all your information on as far as your contact, and someone can send a short code to 50500, and it will send to the person's telephone all your information. So, little tidbit.
50500. Anybody else? Shameless self-promotion, plugs, you got a plug?
You want ideas, right?
Yeah.
So I want someone to put games in the cloud so that when my kids want my iPhone, I don't have to have 1,000 apps on it. They can just get in the cloud and play all their games anytime, anywhere. And I think JD's right as far as mobile goes. When my 3-year-old wants to play with my iPhone every 5 minutes, it's just going in that direction.
Okay. Who is next?
All right, I just wanted to throw this one out there for y'all. Anybody who's doing something I think could be something useful for Tweet Booty maybe, or anybody who's doing digital products or e-commerce sites. I'm involved with a startup called TwitPay, which allows you to do payments over Twitter. It's secure. It runs through Amazon flexible payment system, and we're about to roll out a service where companies can integrate the accepting. And that was pretty much it. So check it out if you want.
I'm just going to pull and be a real-life spammer. I just actually launched a site last week. It targets the parents and friends of actually those that have an LDS missionary current serving out somewhere. So it's LDS specific, being here and stuff. It's on mymission.com. We're kind of think of it as a Facebook that parents set up for their missionaries. It's a way for the missionaries to communicate back to their friends and family what they're actually doing and stuff. I know I served a mission. I know it was hard to keep up with all my friends. They always emailed me a million emails and things of what I was doing, what was a mission, and things like that. And so that's why I created this site, so that missionaries could actually communicate back with their friends and family a lot better. So it's onmymission.com and onmymission.com, and I'm going to use every second I have, maybe. Who's next?
Okay. Related to that question about gaming in the cloud, this company called OnLive just announced something related to that.
They stole my idea.
Sorry about that. I don't know, but me and my buddy are looking to do a fantasy sports website, but kind of make a different twist on it, kind of change the way you play, make it easier for people so it's less time consuming, and then also kind of be the Ning of fantasy sports. If anyone knows about Ning, you make your own kind of social network. We'd like to set that up where people can make their own fantasy sports league, invite people to it, have their own domain, kind of style it how they want. So if anyone has any advice on that or any questions, come talk to me or Nate in the green shirt here.
All right, we're going to come up here for Ben last time. Do you have one part? Yeah, I just have a quick question.
I'll turn the camera on myself. This will be crazy. All right. I should probably know this since I'm helping out with the event, but I had a question, mostly probably for you, Jer, about future LaunchUp events. If you have a startup company or you're involved with a startup company, how could you get involved and, maybe be a featured company like Entice Labs or Tweet Booty? What do you do to get involved with the future LaunchUp events? And are they all going to be like this, or are there different formats? Give us a little preview of what we can expect from LaunchUp in the future.
Okay, good question. So the easy answer, if you want to participate, is you can bribe me, and then you can participate. No. So right now, that's kind of how we're running. Eventually, what we'd like to do is work within the kind of the established ecosystem of entrepreneurship, the clubs, the entrepreneurial groups, the forums, the Commission for Economic Development offices. Those are already angel groups. They're seeing all the businesses, and what we'd like to try to do is to take the best of all of those networks and then put them into the process of a LaunchUp if there's value for the companies involved. So it's somewhat of an experiment. We don't know. The format will definitely probably change a little bit next time. I've already thought of some things, and we knew that we just had to go and do one and try. We can play with the technology involved and different things like that. And evolve from there and see where we go. So, we've talked about potentially doing some other events, maybe like a little less formal type of a thing, more casual. We even talked about doing maybe an all-day event where you're, going to preview 30 companies instead of 2. So, those are the things that we want to do. I mean, really, LaunchUp for me was I wanted a way to try to channel more of my desire to help entrepreneurs than just the occasional somebody had enough courage to email me and I try to help them out, or I get asked to go talk at a college or something like that. And so I wanted to try to do something that was more, for the community. And hopefully it's not just, it's very Utah focused, but LaunchUp is not started to be a Utah organization. It started to be an technology entrepreneur organization, especially first-time entrepreneurs. So, we really don't have a lot of interest to try to help entrepreneurs that are not doing something with technology. It doesn't have to be web technology, but we believe, and I believe, that the world's big problems are going to be solved by technology. They're not going to, so that's what we're looking for. So that's kind of where we're headed in the future. So that's a good question. So for those of you online, you don't get any pizza. I haven't figured out how to beam pizza and drinks to you yet. So I'll put that in on the Adobe Connect platform. That's what we use for the technology tonight, see if they can get that going for us. But just a reminder, it's April 22nd, Wednesday, April 22nd. It will be our next event. If you would like to try to help, if you'd like to be a company that's featured, if you'd like to try to be involved, we're probably definitely will formalize help and sponsorships and organizations that are willing to put time and energy and eventually even money behind what we're doing, because it's going to take those things to actually continue to go. We did the first one here at DOBA because we knew we could control the technology as much as possible, and even with that, you see, we just didn't get that. So we apologize we didn't get the Entice video. It's one of the best videos I've seen, so go watch it. But you can, again, follow us on the website, RSS, email updates, and that's how you'll know, or on Twitter. That's how you're going to know what we're up to. And we definitely would love more help to try to shine the spotlight on the promising startups here in Utah and other places, and then also to try to help those startups actually go and be successful and kind of buck the headwinds of the crap world that we all live in right now. So anyway, so we're going to break. We're finished up. We're going to go, and we've got pizza and drinks downstairs. So if you're here at DOBA, feel free to kind of roam around. We've got, just hopefully there's some networking and things, and look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks.